And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to give you another anime review. This time around, we're going to be talking about I Got a Cheat Skill in Another World and became Unrivaled in the Real World too. So yes, we get an interesting take on an isekai, and it's one of the more well drawn, visually, and it has some aspects of 3D animation as well, and it's not too wonky, I'll say the least. And the art style that they go for is a lot more detailed, and I think it works. It's very interesting to see that type of art style. It's been a while since I've seen anything. The only other show that I've seen an art style recently is Oshino Oko, and I'm working on my review for that, and I'm enjoying the art style there as well. But for this one, the art style is very, very bright. Like I said, there is moments of 3D animation. I don't know if it's fully 3D animated, but if it is, it's sometimes you don't even tell. But yeah, so the basic plot of we'll just call this I don't know what to call this. This is like a very long name, like most of these animes. So the plot of this anime specifically is Yuya Tenjo was an overweight and short and meek middle school student who is bullied at school and tormented by his family, except for his grandfather, who is the only person who cared about him. But when his grandfather passed away and leaves the sole heir of his house and his property and all that to him, his family kind of expels him and from his home and is forced to live alone. And after some time, Yuya finds a portal to another world where he gains abilities like you would in any isekai where you just get abilities, but he sees a door, goes into it, gets abilities, and basically because of that, basically kind of transforms himself into kind of a more handsome individual, I would say. To each their own, but yeah, he is more built and more powerful, strong and athletic, all these things, kind of showcasing a little bit more. And this is after he had a really bad day. This is episode 1 a little bit. So he had a really rough day. It tries to help out a young girl being harassed, gets his ass beat. The girl tries to thank him, but he's just kind of nah, just yeah, I'm good, walks away. Feeling under, he finds this portal, goes into it, and then instead of being trapped in another world, he goes back and forth. And that's what's interesting about this one, is that it's one of the few series where the main character, Yuya, is able to go back and forth from these worlds and use the abilities, because while he's in the modern world, we'll call it that, the modern world, he transfers to a well up-to-date school, makes friends, and gets new experiences, which okay, I'm liking this character development. Some of the interactions with some of the other characters in, let's see, the modern world are interesting. They are a very interesting cast. It's enjoyable. And then while in the fantasy realm, you get these more of your fantasy style anime where you get a princess, an assassin, a plot to destroy the world, and all this fun stuff you would get, and you get a little bit of both in this. And I think for the most part, as I was watching this, I believe it's 12 episode series, it takes moments to keep. It has a decent pace throughout the season, and I'm okay, I'm enjoying this. Nothing's too rushed. The fight scenes are great. Like I said, there is some 3D animation when fight scenes are happening. They're not too janky, but depending on your preference when it comes to studios using 3D animations for fight scenes, that's your own. I didn't mind it. I think there was like 2 times where like it looked kind of wonky, but that was like 2 out of the anime, so I'm not gonna like downgrade it for that, because the story itself is pretty sweet, intense, and because there's like I said, there's like 2 things going. They barely ever intermingle until towards the end a little bit. And I think that's where it kind of like, for me, as far as plot points go, the plot towards the end kind of loses a little luster a little bit. Because as far, this is without spoilers, but it just feels like towards the end of the season, it just felt like they were rushing moments. And it kind of, if you listen to my last episode, the last episode of Reactioncast with what was the last one? The Aristocrat one. That one, since I had more context, because I did read a little bit of this one prior, but this goes further than the book. But like this one, it felt, even at the end of the finale for this one, it just felt like they were rushing key moments. I'm like, I know there's context in here, unless they like, if they do a season 2, because it feels like there is a season 2 with kind of how they were exploring some of the world lore of the fantasy world, and expanding some of the character development in the modern world, because even then you kind of just left it a little open-ended, which is fine, because if this is how it is, like, it's like it ends like, okay, it's if this is a one and done, like, is it bad? No, but there's still stuff for there that could have been expanded upon, because then it's like why introduce all this stuff? But I'm like, okay, it was fun to watch. But if there's more, I hope they expand kind of how they kind of, some of the plots, or some of the points, I mean, that they pushed at the end of the finale, and I'm like, hope they develop that a little bit more, because for the most part, it's enjoyable to see Yuya just kind of get used to his new self, this embodiment of what he wants to be, and then who he really is. Because some of the characters you get were kind of the with, like, it is not super spoilers, but you get the princess who acknowledges him for just his abilities in the fantasy world, while in the modern world you got the the school's the head of the school's daughter, I believe that's who it is, the daughter or granddaughter. Is it the granddaughter? The daughter of the chairman. Yeah, the daughter of the chairman. And the girl who he rescued earlier, who sees who he is as an actual good individual and wants to, for the most part, pay him back. And, you know, you get the love interest there. You get the love interest with a few characters, and it's fun. It's like it's played out, but it's not too cringy. It's like fun in this one compared to some of the other animes right now. I enjoyed having this because he's a little dense, but not like stupid dense. It's like, oh, you know, he's trying to get accustomed to who he is now, and I'm fine with that, you know, because he has a lot going on in this world, just trying to just be his new self in a sense. I'll say that. And I think that's mostly, like I said, it has moments, it has some interesting like potential there, and the way they do it. The only thing I did not like, this is just for me, since I always watch most animes, at least 99% of them are always watched in Japanese. So when they do, for this show in particular, they do all the abilities of like his skills or weapons and stuff, they show them, and like I'm a big fan when it comes to like cool weapon effects and stuff, like, oh, what does that do? And so when I pause it to read it, it's just sometimes the way since I watched this on Crunchyroll, the way they kind of textualize it, and I'm like trying to read it. I'm like, this is too fast. I can't read it. Like, I want to know what this spear does. I want to know what that gauntlet does, because there's a lot of text when it comes to this one, and I'm like, that's kind of like bothersome for me. I wish they could just like, come on, just like a midpoint something or something, But that's just my only gripe, my personal gripe, just because I'm a big fan of like interesting like armors and weapons and stuff like that. That kind of like make the world seem build more depth to the world and stuff like that. But besides that, the characters are pretty enjoyable to watch. They're not cringy or annoying. You can kind of say that depending on your preferences, you might think like some of the fantasy characters a little bit more annoying, and vice versa as the modern characters. But for me, I didn't really see them as too cringy. They're pretty standard character profiles, and for the most part they were enjoyable to watch. And Yuya himself is a like actual enjoyable character who just wants to do good, and not like in that righteous way. He just wants to do good, and I like that he's doing what he's doing. And the kind of the antagonists of these worlds, like there's like there's some modern day antagonists, and they do bring up some stuff. They're kind of fun. Like I said, they do a good job going back and forth. It's just towards the end when they kind of introduce this weird transition where you have a character able to go outside of Yuya that's able to go to the other world as well. Like, why are you doing this? Like a little bit more context, please. But that in itself is fun. But yeah, those are my thoughts for oh my god, what is this one? I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real one too. So I'm going to give this one a solid 8 out of 10. It's a solid 8 out of 10. It was a great show, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, beautiful to watch. Like I said, the action was really good. The animation was good. Soundtrack was enjoyable. And I'm looking forward to see if there is a season 2. Like I said, it kind of, the finale, the way they ended it kind of like felt that they rushed a little bit of it. But if it's kind of like contextualized in a season 2, I'll be like, okay, that works. I'm fine with that. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought, because I gave this one an 8 out of 10. Let me know if you're gonna watch this one. If you're not gonna watch it, like, let me know down in the comments if you're on YouTube or Spotify. If you're listening to this on any other podcast platforms, you can always let me know on social media. So thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.